Hey everybody, I thought I would have a good conversation with you today about the top items of concern, if you will, or the areas of challenge that I get on a regular basis on my lines. And as you know, spending a lot of time on YouTube and books and podcasts and things of that nature, together with the 30 years of being a therapist in private practice, it really helps me to be able to offer suggestions or advice or guidance, but by no means make decisions for my practice owners. I've always taken the approach that no one could ever know everything there is to know about a particular subject, but you always have to be willing to look, and you always have to be willing to listen and willing to assimilate new data, because everything changes on a regular basis in healthcare, especially in our physical therapy world. So the challenges and questions and concerns of how to do things are quite frequent on my lines on a regular basis. But more importantly, what I think above and beyond that, rather than just giving tools and strategies, it's the way to think about things, the way to approach things, the way to internalize where you are and where you want to go. Living your dream life is the most important thing to me in physical therapy. Being somebody who can be trusted, somebody who you can get an honest opinion from, somebody who's only going to recommend things to you that they would want recommended to themselves if they were in your shoes. I think that vibe has to come across each and every time you work with anybody, whether it be in business or your home or your family life. You know, part of being a superhuman is having a strong interest in seeing those around you do well. And so that's why I do these coaching calls each and every day. We charge nothing for them, and I learn so much from those coaching calls. Yes, these are my members, and these are physical therapists around the country who are working on applying what they're learning. But boy, the questions are so great. I learn from them each and every time. So let me move into sharing some of these questions with you, and they may not even necessarily be questions. Some of them are just statements. And then let's just talk about like how my brain works on tackling this issue or that issue. And then maybe we'll throw a couple more in there. I think more now than ever, people are looking for quick, speedy directions of thought. They're looking for experience and a track record of application of strategies, principles, concepts, environmental changes that actually work, not hypothetical things, or not like, throwing dart at the wall kind of ideas. So let me just get into it. What happens is many people listen to the podcast, and then they go to the website, and then they click on, learn more, or they go to the Mega Academy and they fill out a form, so to speak, about what it is they're looking for. And then they talk to Jen, and they have a quick little interview with Jen, and she shapes up like, where are they now? Where do they want to go? What is the state of the union? Where they came from? And then that gives me a good framework to deal with. And then they get on my lines for what we call practice assessment. I go through in greater detail for an hour or two everything that's going on in your practice and everything you want to see achieved in your practice, the things that are sliding backwards that you want to boost back up, or the things that you don't have that you want to put in, all of those kinds of things. And then existing clients who've been with me a long time, they will have coaching sessions, and we'll take up the topic of the day, whatever it is that's on their mind or that they're wrestling with as well. So this is a little bit of a mixed bag of all of those. So here's the first one. My business is growing. My challenge is finding time for myself to actually run the business. Right now, I am the only PT, and I'm treating a lot inside my practice. And then I'm working late evenings on the administrative roles and responsibilities that I have. My admin time is currently decreasing. How do I scale down when the time is right to hire another PT? So he's referring to, or she's referring to, scaling down their clinical practice side so that they can get more admin time. So here's the thing. If you're a startup, you're usually going to start the practice with just you and either a virtual front desk person or you and an administrative person who's going to help you. It's usually that's the first team that goes into private practice together. The hard thing is when it's a live person who's there helping you, to get them to leave their job, you're going to commit to a full-time salary for somebody who's not generating revenue, but yet they're taking a burden off of your plate, which I'm totally fine with. And that's what's happened for decades and decades. And then you're the treating therapist and you're going to run that caseload up. Now, whether you're doing a 40-minute schedule, 45-minute schedule, every 30-minute schedule, patients are staying 55, 65 minutes, you must figure out what the maximum number of slots that can be filled in your schedule, given the style of schedule you pick. Then you must hold yourself accountable to practicing above 85% of that, because every single person is going to work in the 85th percentile of your maximum schedule. A good, clinically efficient therapist will maintain on a 3-week trend operations clinically seeing 85% of the max number of patients that they can see on a regular basis. Any clinician who's falling below that, I'm going to have a chat with the front desk. I'm going to have a chat with the marketing team, whoever that is, who's ever working that. I'm going to have a chat with the therapist, because it's either a therapist problem, front desk problem, or a marketing problem. The bare minimum, which I consider a quota by definition, is that every full-time therapist that you have working for you must be practicing above 85% of the maximum number of slots that are available to them in the schedule. When you hire a therapist for a 40-hour work week, you are putting 40 hours of treatment time in the schedule. They are a salaried employee, and as a salaried employee to be seeing 40 hours of patient care. The better they are with their point of service documentation, the better they are in time management, the more concise they are with their notes, the less time they're going to spend above and beyond the last patient walking out the door each and every day doing notes and documentation. The goal here is that you want to have each and every one of your therapists walking out within 60 minutes of their last patient. If not, then you need to swoop in and help that therapist, either as a documentation problem, they're doing too much, saying too much. It's an EMR, too clunky, getting around, too burdensome to be efficient, or it's just simply a time management issue. The way in which they're Gabby Gus, they're a chatty Cathy with each and every patient, and they're not doing their notes. So it's our job to make sure that our therapists are operating in the maximum of efficiency. So this goes to my point in solving this situation with this particular owner. They need to be honing their skills administratively to get their notes done on time. They need to block time of admin time throughout the day and in the evening, as which they're going to just shut off their phone, set it aside, and just put all your mental attention units on the admin side of your business. There are 64 key statistics that most successful private practice owners already know, and they're very successful at running their practice because they know what they're keeping the pulse of and what they're keeping track of. Do you know that? Because you actually need to know that if you're going to run a successful practice, especially if you're small in your startup. When you are at 85% max efficiency for a 3-week trend, and it's sustainable and it's going and new patients are coming in, start advertising. Look for the hire. Plan on 90 days from when you put your recruitment ad out to when you actually land that therapist. 90 days. So you don't want to wait when you're 110% and you're working 50, 55 hours a week treating patients and you have no time for dinner and you're not seeing your kids and you're just burning yourself out. You've waited too long. But you don't want to hire too early either. You want to get to where, look, 85% of my work week, I am actually treating patients the whole time. The rest, I'm doing admin. I need to throw the ads out there. I am not opposed to using headhunters. Throw something out to a headhunter. You don't pay them unless they find a good person. You can negotiate prices with those folks. That's totally fine as well, and they do all the listings for you. But I also want you to know that when you write an ad, and I just shot something on this, when you write an ad, it's meant to stimulate reach. Create a mystery, create interest. It's not to close them on wanting to work for you. That's not it. Oh, our bonus is this, our payrolls, our benefit package is this, blah, blah, blah. No, it's got to be something else. You got to say something very interesting and intriguing that makes them want to call you, email you, learn more about your business and practice. It's up to you in the interview to actually bring them to a close to wanting to work for you. So don't have the wrong conception about ad writing. Most of the ads out there, they all look the same. They're just versions of the same thing. That's not going to do it. You need to really set yourself apart. So when is the right time to hire another PT? When you are on a 3-week to 1-month trend of above 85% and it doesn't look like it's turning down, start advertising and bring that person in. So next, one of our questions are, what services are you interested in? And the person wrote in, we're looking for a group like yours that could help us improve The way we actually run our practice, this person has multiple offices. The way we run our offices with greater level of efficiency, we're having challenges in terms of payment, collections, credentialing, and clinical delivery in an efficient manner. That's what they wrote. So let's just talk about clinical efficiency. Typically, you don't have good clinical efficiency, and let's make sure we define that term. It's the number of visits you do per day, per week, per month. It's the amount of work done in a unit of time. That's what efficiency is. How much can I do in a particular unit of time? You all know, and you've heard me say, the main reason why we went to PT school is, number one, help as many people in my community as I humanly can, and number two, give the greatest level of care with each and every engagement, because I'm very fortunate and blessed that the person has chosen to be my patient as opposed to somebody 2 miles down the road at my competitor's office. So those are the only two reasons. To help people is just to be human. Don't give me that as an answer. At least I would express to you. That's not an answer for why I went to PT school. I want to help as many people in my community as possible, and I want to give the greatest level of skilled care with each and every engagement. So the only way to track and measure that is visits per day, visits per week, blah, blah, blah. It's the volume of people that I've been able to lay my hands on, I've touched, I've worked with in a unit of time. I personally believe you should be tracking visits per week all the time and looking at 3-week trends. Graphing all of it is going to tell you if we're uptrending, we're flat, we're downtrending, because your intervention is going to be definitely different. So with this practice with multiple offices and clinics, usually what I see with that owner is they have one office where everybody's doing it and it's humming really well. They have another office where it's not, and they wonder what's broken. Usually it's not a break in your systems. It's usually a who, not a what. There's somebody in that office that's talking it up or pushing back or in disagreement with what you're doing. It's unspoken. It's unexpressed resentment of some sort, form, or fashion. So it's your job to listen and look and put people on track as to the set level of expectations that you have for each and every one of your offices. Where I would start with that situation and solving it is something we call the two-way street lecture. I would have a two-way street lecture, mini lecture with each and every one of my therapists and, quite frankly, each and any one of my employees in that office, in all my offices. And you need to express to them that the business is exchanging A, B, C, D, E with you on an every 2-week basis, and you need to be exchanging A, B, C, D back. And that means 85% clinically efficient, 3.75 units of care, because that's the only way I can measure the volume of care that you've delivered. When I talk units, I don't ever talk money. It's not about money. No physical therapist bills. This has nothing to do with billing. It only represents the amount of care I've given to a patient. And to make my point, if John comes in for therapy and Brian treats John and I deliver 2.5 units of care and John has a $40 copay, and then the very 2 days later comes back and sees Sally and Sally delivers 4 units of care, 3.75 units of care, John's going to be like, I got the same $40 copay. I'm not seeing Brian anymore. I'm going to see Sally. She's exchanging an abundance with me in my clinical care. Look, if you just want to deliver 2 units of care, just send them to the internet. Let them go see Bob and Brad. I mean, they're the most popular therapists on the internet. I'm sure they can learn something to do. That's no longer skilled therapy in many ways. I mean, some people may argue with me like, well, that's all they get. Yes, I know, maybe if that's all they could take, and there's some anomaly, some reason, some justification. I'm just saying on a general average, you want to be giving an abundance of skilled physical therapy, not the caveats. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking overall. What is my therapist averaging per my schedule that I'm giving them? Now, of course, if you're seeing patients 40 minutes, 45 minutes, or every 30 minutes, or what, you've got to do the math. You got to know, like, what's the optimum volume of care that they can give in each and one of those sessions. It's very easy, folks. This isn't hard to figure out. It's very easy to see how many units of care they should be doing. But take my clinician hat off and put my CEO hat on. I also have to be mindful, am I running my business in such a manner that my therapist is generating 3.5 times their cost? I mean, each and every clinician today, if they're not generating 3.5 times their cost, there's no way you're going to run a viable practice. It's math. I mean, it's not my opinion. It's not somebody else's opinion. It's not something, it's math. I mean, you can't, Pay your bills. I mean, the income squeeze is a real thing out there, folks. So, and we're going to get to that. I got a good one in here. So I hope I answered that. I mean, clinical efficiency is everything. So Brian, what are some of the solutions to increase efficiency? One, coach and train them on how to be better documenters. If they can be quicker with their documentation and teach them time management, stop being a chatty Cathy, start talking about your football weekend, start talking about the patient and moving them along. And number 3, I guess, use of care extenders. Care extenders can move people from one place to another and get things that you need. You can't bill for their services, but you can surely increase efficiency if, in fact, you use some degree of care extenders. Rearrange your clinic. Make it systematically efficient so everything's at your fingertips. You don't have to be like all over the place, right? So those are just some simple suggestions. Next, I heard about your learning management system, and it makes sense to me that we need this more today than ever before. By getting a learning management system, it'll afford us the opportunity to onboard through better orientation of new employees and also create greater professional enhancement of our existing staff. From your viewpoint, what should I expect to get from Meg Academy as my learning management system? Well, that was an interesting specific question about us, but a learning management system is what Target's using, Ashley Furniture, AutoNation, Verizon, Mitsubishi. I mean, the list goes on. If you're running a business today of 5 or more people and you don't have a learning management system, you are working harder and longer to achieve what you achieve. Just period. You are working harder and longer. The more you have a learning management system that can onboard people as to company orientation, how to be a good employee, like literally teaching people what it takes to be a good employee, how not to be that redheaded stepchild that runs with scissors in my clinic, but how to actually play nice with everybody else and not be a cancer to my group. You literally need training of people like, what does it take to be a good employee? I don't care what the post is, but I need a good employee, a good, ethical, loyal, dedicated, high communicating person who's transparent and sincere and trustworthy. I need to facilitate that in today's world. They don't come in like that off the street. They're a little banged up. They're a little tarnished. You need to spit polish them and shine them up a little bit. So we need to make people like bang out outstanding citizens, civil servants, civil citizens. I don't know if civil servants is the right word, but civil citizens who express humanity to their fellow man and woman inside the business, right? Inside the practice. So that's first. The learning management system then picks them up from there and says, okay, now you've been assigned to this post. Here's all the basic training that you need to know. Here's the quizzes. Here's the tests. Here's the role plays that you need to do to master being great at the front desk or being a great marketing coordinator or being great tech or staff physical therapist or clinical director. You need, more than anything, a training program that's going to establish them on post with all the basic tools and understandings of how to do that job to the best of their ability. Then the management system goes one level further. Now that you've mastered the basics of the job and you're doing very well, how do you practice in the top 10% of that position? Professional enhancement, because we want to encourage you to move up our employment ladder. As you move up the employment ladder, the exchange in abundance gets greater. The exchange for you financially and beneficially goes greater. I want everybody to grow personally and professionally inside my practice, but I can't do it without a learning management system because there's only one of me and I can only give so much love, time, and attention to each one of my staff members. You can't wing it anymore today, folks. You need to put people on an organized, structured learning management system so that they're growing as an employee, they're getting established well on their post, and then they're professionally being enhanced to perfect their post and perform at the top 10% of their position. You need a tool. You need something that does it. And it needs to be live and dynamic and engaging. And along with that, you should have some live coaching. You should have some live intervention because as you're learning new strategies, new techniques, new environmental changes, new structural changes, a coach will help you in what you learned and how to apply what you learned. That's what physical therapy school was about. You learned how to do wheelchair mobility and how to safely fall out of a wheelchair. And then you had to go tip over your partner in their wheelchair and see that they could fall safely. At least that's what they did in PT school in my day. We learned how to fall downstairs. We learned how to walk appropriately. We learned how to, I know that sounds brutal, whatever, but we really did learn like all of the things that were necessary to be able to actually know what it felt like to be a patient in all settings and environments. So it's the application of what you learn that really matters. That's where the skill development comes. As a business owner and CEO, that's what I'm most concerned with. giving you tools, all the materials, sure, it's all in the file. Giving you the training and the education about what it all means and how it works and the principles behind it, sure, that's in the programs and modules. But the coaching on how to then take those two pieces together and apply them in your practice, given your unique situation to your specific part of the country, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's what I'm most proud of. So find a learning management system. That's what we kind of focus on, is to give you that application of what you learn. I think that's really cool. Next person wrote in, I want to get Brian's opinion on signing a lease, going into an existing PT owner's practice and working in there as well. Well, that's not so great. I'm not a big fan of that situation, mainly because you are, I don't even know if that's going to be legal depending on where you are and how that works. My screen locked up there. I had to open it up. It went black. Sorry about that. Let me get my attention back on here. How do I send two claims out of the same physical address to the same insurance companies doing the same service without something getting denied or rejected or bungalooed in the clearinghouse or in the payment system or something like that? I don't know that I would advise people to do that. I think if you're going to sublet, you should have a separate address. I'm not a lawyer and I don't pretend to be one, but I do think you need to look into the particulars of that. If you sublet in another provider's office that's not doing therapy, I don't think you have a problem there. But two PTs operating out of the same space, especially with a federally funded program, I don't think that's kosher. I don't think that's going to fly. So I think you should look into the details of that. That's a good question. Not a fan. I'm new. I just opened up my practice a couple months ago. This is another one. And I would like to know how I can sublet to possibly a speech therapist, Pilates instructor, or massage therapist to offset some of my rental costs. A lot of startup people do that. Now, this person went on to say, because I've been approached at this fair, all these people wanted to be a part of this. This is my message to you. This is what I see so often. He was approached. All these people want to get, now the wheels are, my question to you would be, was that your goal? Was that what you intended to do 6 months in, 3 months into your opening your private practice? Follow your dream. Play your game. Expand your office. When you play other people's games, like other people want to be a part, so many people ask, Brian, I want to do this with you. I want to do that with you. I'm like, no, 99.9% of the time. My wife is my only partner. She's my only partner in everything I do. I feel strongly that when you're winning and succeeding, everybody wants to be attached to you. When you're the shiny new object, you capture everybody's attention. And your ego gets the best of you and you think, yeah, look, I'm a rock star. I'm going to connect with these people. And you think the best outcome is going to happen. Most of the time, it does not work that way. It doesn't happen. I'm not a doom and gloom person, so please don't think I am that way. But I am a realist. I am practical. I do go off of what I see. And what I see is people end up playing other people's games. They bring in partners for the wrong reasons. Like, I don't want to do something. I'm going to bring a partner in to do that. Well, now you got another husband or wife that you have to make happy, not just the one you have at home, but the one you have at work. And now you need other people's agreements with everything you want to do. You're not executing your vision. You're not living your life. You're not living your dream. You're not living the best you because you got to tug somebody else along, or you have to be tugged along yourself. You know, think of what your business strat plan is. Think of what your ideal scene is and stay the course. Stay driven to build what you see for yourself, even if it takes 24 or 36 months. Now, in the process, if you want to, let's say someone says, well, I have this extra space, I'm only using this, and you originate it, fine. Do a month to month, have a appropriate exchange, 60-40 split or something like that because they're using your facility, and make sure it's a month-to-month thing and can end at any time. That's not so dangerous, right? But getting looped into something that's a long-term commitment, heaven forbid somebody do something good or bad, and all of a sudden the liability falls on you because they don't own the place. They're just working with you. And definitely put things in writing. Have a sublet agreement. I personally like Rocket Lawyer. You can get all kinds of templates. It's very inexpensive. You can download it, make it yourself, make it your own. A local lawyer can look it over. They'll recommend at a fraction of the price of you finding the local lawyer yourself. So I make that recommendation to a lot of people very often. Okay, last one. And I left the best for last. And I don't want to come across angry or really down tone or very antagonistic when I do say this last one, but this one kind of gets under my skin a little bit and it fires me up a little bit. So I'm going to try to give you my advice and feedback in a very positive nature. So there's my disclaimer, but check this out. Check this one out. So, let me give you a little preface. So this owner, who's been a longtime owner of client of ours, who I love her to death. She's wonderful. She's in the Midwest. She's got a beautiful practice. She's very successful, and she just keeps growing and becoming more successful. So she needs more staff. So she's been interviewing, and she interviewed this new grad, and the interview went well, and she cared for this person and thought she would love to make an offer to them. But at the end of the interview, she was following our training. The person's like, yeah, I'm shopping around. I got multiple more interviews to go on. So, and she's like, okay, good. Look, if this is the best place for you, you're going to know it. By all means, go do your other interviews. Reach back to me. If we're the best of the rest, I'm happy to make an offer and bring you in. And the person was like, oh, that was kind of weird, and kind of didn't really say much, but she kind of, saw that the person was a little disjointed on that, but not saying anything disjointed about it. So the person left. And now 2 weeks later, I'm surmising it was 2 weeks later. I don't know exactly the day. She got this email, and here's the email. I'm going to read it to you. So this is great. I hope you guys, all right, whatever. So here it goes. I'm just taking the one section of the email. It says, hey, I just wanted to check back in with you and confirm with you that I am still interested in my position at ABC Physical Therapy. I am collecting offer letters from other local clinics that I may want to pursue further, and I would love it if ABC Physical Therapy was in the mix. Whoa, okay, hold the bus. Last time I checked, this owner wasn't the one interviewing for a job or seeking any future career advancement. So this person, this new grad who knows nothing, who's just got out of school, has no experience, is going to talk to this 20-year veteran PT owner and say, I'm collecting, offers from local clinics that I may want to pursue further, and would love to know if you'd like to be in my hopper. Well, I got something to say about your hopper or your potential. Would you still want to be in the mix? I'm sorry, Susie Sally, or whoever this person was. Let me just say this. I would write back like, given the tone of your email that I recently read, I would like to communicate this in a, oh gosh, how do I say this off the top of my head? All right. So given the nature of the email I just read, I would like to express to you that I was extremely interested in seeing you as an active participant of ABC Physical Therapy. As you know, we hold the standard of practice very high here at ABC Therapy, and I'm seeking the best of the rest in terms of all of the potential candidates that are the best fit for our practice, for our patients, our company culture, and our brand. If you're interested in pushing yourself to practice at the top 10% of your license, we would be very interested in extending an offer to you for a position here at ABC Physical Therapy. By no means are we interested in being in the mix of anything else that's going out there in terms of the physical therapy community seeking physical therapists. We want only potential candidates who are excited about the potential opportunity to move up the employment ladder and extend their career both personally and professionally within our four walls of our practice. If that is how you feel about ABC Physical Therapy, please reach back out to me. If not, get lost. No, I wouldn't say that. If not, we wish you the best, right? I don't know what's going on in academia, but this kind of stuff makes me want to rip my head off. Like, the audacity, the lack of reality in my mind of a new grad expressing themselves in that way to somebody who's put in 20 years of hard knocks, building a business, and you're going to come out of school acting like you're just going to walk down the buffet line. And maybe some of you guys are like, Brian, you don't understand. It's so hard. It's so competitive. Yeah, well, if you're going to go down to the Walmart level of physical therapy and you're just going to compete in that pool, then good luck. You're going to, you know what? This person is most likely not going to be your top performer. It's already breeding the image of what's in it for me and how can you do this for me and how, me, I. That is not who we, look, here's my strong recommendation. Get the Who book of hiring, Jeffrey Smart. I can't remember the other author. The Who method of hiring is hands down, in my mind, the absolute best method of hiring. You've got to hold yourself in higher regard and only let the people play in your sandbox who meet the grade, who've met the standards of practice that you have. I don't care if you got to go another 2 or 3 months without a therapist. Yes, it's tough. Yes, you're losing revenue. I get it. But you know what? It's worse if you have that bad employee in there who's going to be cancer to your group and work against you. You're going to have stress each and every day. If you're walking around the clinic on eggshells because you can't speak freely to all of your employees or to 1 or 2 or particular employees, you have an employee problem. You have an employee issue. My job is to protect you. My job is to protect your interests and protect the brand and business that you've been forwarding and you've been building. This is it. You only have one shot at it. The minute you get black PR and somebody taking you down and going after you, it's very hard to recover from that. This is an example of that exactly. So I hope you kind of share some fraction of my opinion on that. I only want the best and brightest to be working for you who are motivated to see the group win. And as a result of the group winning, they win too. Find those people. Don't find the me, I individuals. Trust me, it's going to be a nightmare for you. So I hope this episode really helped you to kind of glean a little insight as to some of the challenges other practice owners have and some of the ways we solve those solutions. I'll leave you with this. Get some help. Get somebody who's got a deep bench of resource. Get somebody who has experience in dealing with these things over and over so that they're not guessing, and have them help coach you through the ebbs and flows of your business over time. Forming that friendship and forming that relationship is going to come back to you tenfold over. Please spend time finding that. Today's world is more challenging than ever, and it's only getting more difficult. The income squeeze is a real thing. So know how to navigate around it. I don't care if you've got 36 offices or you've been open 3 months. The challenges will still come to your doorstep. It's best to face them not alone. That's my message to you guys. I wish you all the best. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, just go to our website, megbusiness.com, and schedule your practice assessment, and I'll be here to talk to you.